listening to Full Circle Weekly News. These articles are compiled by Artyom Reddy, and I'm your host, Moss Bliss. This is episode 383, covering week 36, September 2nd to 8th, 2024. Armbian 24.8 is out, providing a compact system environment for various single-board computers with ARM, RISC-V, and x86 computers. The project supports more than 30 variants of Linux kernel builds for different ARM and ARM64 platforms. An SDK is provided to simplify the creation of your own system images, packages, and distribution editions. ZSwap is used for swapping. When logging in via SSH, an option is provided for using two-factor authentication. The package includes a Box64 emulator, which allows you to run programs compiled for processors based on the x86 architecture. Ready-made packages are offered for running user environments based on KDE, GNOME, Budgie, Cinnamon, i3WM, Mate, XFCE, and Xmonad. DietPi 9.7, designed for use on single-board PCs based on ARM and RISC-V architectures, has been released. The distribution is built on Debian and is available in builds for more than 50 boards. DietPi can also be used to create compact environments for virtual machines and regular PCs based on the x86-64 architecture. Builds for boards are compact compared to the Raspberry Pi OS and Armbian. The tools for building and maintaining the distribution are distributed under the GPL v2 license. The project is optimized for minimal resource consumption and develops several of its own utilities: DietPi-software, DietPi-config, DietPi-backup, DietPi-ramlog, DietPi-services, and DietPi-update. The utilities provide a console user interface with menus and dialogues based on Whiptail. A fully automated installation mode is supported, allowing installation on boards without user intervention. Samba 4.21.0 was released, containing the Samba 4 branch with full implementation of a domain controller and Active Directory service, compatible with the Windows 2008 implementation and capable of servicing all Microsoft-supported versions of Windows clients, including Windows 11. Samba 4 is a multifunctional server product, also providing the implementation of a file server, print service, and identification server. GhostBSD 24.07.1 has been published. It is based on FreeBSD 14 stable and offers the Mate user environment. Separately, the community offers unofficial builds with XFCE. By default, GhostBSD uses a ZFS file system, or ZFS if you prefer. Both live mode and installation on a hard drive are supported using G-install. Boot images are generated for the x86-64 architecture. Weston 14.0 has been published, a composite server with technologies that facilitate the emergence of full support for the Wayland protocol in Enlightenment, GNOME, KDE, and other user environments. Weston development is aimed at providing high-quality codebase and working examples for using Wayland in desktop environments and embedded solutions, such as platforms for in-car infotainment systems, smartphones, TVs, and other consumer devices. The project code is distributed under the MIT license. KDE-EV has published a report for 2023, which, in addition to information about projects, events, and conferences, also discloses financial indicators. The organization received €349,000 in 2023 and spent €457,000. €181,000 was received through donations and contributions from members of the organization. The remainder is financial assistance from corporations and patron participants, including Blue Systems, Canonical, G10 Code, Google, Kubuntu Focus, Qt Group, Slimbook, SUSE, Tuxedo Computers, and Ambition, and income from holding the Academy Conference and other events. The highest expense was €317,000 for salaries of staff and developers. The SeaMonkey 2.53.19 suite of Internet applications has been released. It combines a web browser, email client, newsfeed aggregation system, and WYSIWYG HTML page editor composer in a single product. The Chatzilla IRC client, DOM Inspector Web Developer Toolkit, and Lightning Calendar Planner are offered as pre-installed add-ons. The new release includes fixes and changes from the current Firefox codebase. SeaMonkey 2.53 is based on the Firefox 60.8 browser engine with security fixes and some improvements ported from current Firefox branches. The new version mainly fixes bugs and shortcomings. The display of the font list in the settings has been improved. The cancel button in the bookmark creation interface has been adjusted. Blocking of access to IP 0.0.0.0 has been enabled to prevent attacks on local services. The NSS and NSPR libraries have been updated. Some fixes from the Firefox 115 ESR branch have been backported. QEMU 9.1.0 allows you to run a program compiled for one hardware platform on a system with a completely different architecture. In virtualization mode in QEMU, the performance of code execution in an isolated environment is close to the hardware system due to the direct execution of instructions on the CPU and the use of the Xen hypervisor or the KVM module in Linux or the NVMe module in NetBSD. The project was created by Fabrice Bellard to enable x86-based Linux libraries to run on non-x86 architectures. Full emulation support has been achieved for 14 hardware architectures with over 400 emulated hardware devices. More than 2,800 changes from 263 developers were made during the preparation of version 9.1. A Fedora developer has introduced the SyncStar toolkit, which allows deploying services for recording operating systems of the user's choice onto USB drives. The main purpose of SyncStar is called the creation of kiosks and information stands that can be used during technical conferences and exhibitions to make bootable builds of various operating systems onto USB drives of event participants. The project code is written in Python and is distributed on the AGPL v3 license. Linux distribution developers can use these kiosks to distribute demo builds of their systems, making it easier for conference and exhibition attendees to get acquainted with Linux. Speakers and lecturers can use the project to distribute a bootable image they have prepared to attendees, demonstrating the systems mentioned in the talk or containing training materials. To create a kiosk, you will need a regular laptop installed on an exhibition stand or a Raspberry Pi board. The project is designed to work without a monitor. Control and selection of an image for recording is done through a web interface which can be accessed from a smartphone or laptop by any participant in the event, connecting to a common wireless network. SyncStar features the ability to simultaneously record several images in asynchronous mode, an adaptive web interface designed to work with various types of devices, and a command line interface for configuring the kiosk are mentioned. Q4OS version 5.6 has been published. It is based on Debian and comes with the KDE Plasma 5 and Trinity desktops. Trinity is forked from the KDE 3.5 codebase. Both user environments can simultaneously coexist on one system and the user can switch between them. The distribution is positioned as undemanding to hardware resources and offering a classic desktop design. The package includes several applications of their own development, including Desktop Profiler for quick installation of thematic software sets, Setup Utility for installation of third-party applications, Software Center for installation of additional programs, Welcome Screen for simplifying initial setup, Look Switcher for quick appearance switching, and scripts for installation of alternative environments like LXQT, XFCE, and LXDE. An application for installation of the distribution in a separate Windows directory is provided, which allows you to use the distribution in parallel with Windows without allocating a separate disk partition for it. In the new release, the package base has been updated to Debian 12.7 with Linux kernel 6.1.0-25. The Calamares installer now supports loading custom profiles that define a set of user-selected packages and applications for installation. The capabilities of the Q4OS setup configurator and the desktop profiler application set installer have been expanded. The shim boot layer and grub bootloader have been updated in live builds. Digital signatures of old shim versions have been revoked. The creator of the Adelie Linux distribution, which uses the standard C library Muscle, the OpenRC initialization system, and the APK package manager, has announced a successful porting of Systemd to work with the Muscle library. Despite the fact that the implementation has the status of initial, it is already quite stable and demonstrates a threefold reduction in boot time compared to using OpenRC. Initially, Systemd only supported working with glibc, but a separate set of patches was developed by the Open Embedded project, allowing the use of Systemd in Muscle-based environments. The new port is aimed at creating a completely updated series of patches that ensures compatibility with the latest versions of Systemd and Muscle and uses the new features of Systemd and Muscle. The presented port is written from scratch and, except for changes related to support for glob_brace, malloc_info, and malloc_trim, does not intersect with the port from Open Embedded. The Nginx project announced that it is migrating its development from the Mercurial version control system to Git, moving its official repository to GitHub, and using the GitHub Issues and GitHub Discussions platforms to replace the track.nginx.org issue tracker and mailing list discussions. The move to GitHub is expected to simplify community engagement and attract third-party developers to the project. Pull requests have been implemented to accept changes from other participants in order to give developers and users time to adapt to the new way of life. In addition to using GitHub, the ability to send patches and receive consultations via mailing lists will be retained until December 31st. Red Hat has announced Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI, RHEL AI, specifically adapted for machine learning tasks and designed to simplify the creation of service solutions using large language models. The distribution includes a selection of tools and frameworks for machine learning, drivers for using various hardware accelerators from AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA, and components for using the capabilities of Dell, Cisco, HPE, Lenovo, and Supermicro servers optimized for AI systems. The builds are distributed through the Red Hat customer portal in options for direct installation on servers and for deployment in AWS and IBM cloud systems. The platform can be used to develop corporate AI applications, implement content generation services, create dialogue systems, and integrate virtual assistants into applications that support such skills as the ability to answer questions in natural language, solve mathematical problems, generate meaningful text on a given topic, write a summary of the content, correct errors in the text, perform rewriting in other words, help in writing code in various programming languages, generate letters and documents using a template. RHEL AI integrates components for creating, testing, and executing machine learning systems based on the large language model Granite, open sourced by IBM under the Apache 2.0 license, capable of taking into account up to 4,000 tokens when generating text and covering 7 billion parameters. To interact with the Granite model, the distribution integrates the open-source InstructLab toolkit, which supports the large-scale alignment for chatbots methodology for customizing and optimizing models, as well as adding additional knowledge and implementing new skills in pre-trained models. System76, a leading advocate for Linux and open-source software, is teaming up with the Digital Freedom Foundation, DFF, to revitalize Software Freedom Day, SFD, on September 21, 2024. This partnership aims to address last year's dip in U.S. participation by encouraging global engagement through various events. The goal is to see at least 10 U.S. SFD events and to double global participation, with System76 and DFF working to inspire communities and amplify the importance of digital rights and open-source software. To energize this year's celebrations, the DFF is launching the Huion Graphics Challenge, inviting teams to showcase free and open-source graphics software in creative ways. Additionally, System76's Global Sticker Rep program will distribute new themed stickers to spark conversations and build excitement. Everyone is encouraged to register events, join the movement, and celebrate the transformative power of software freedom. For more details, visit digitalfreedoms.org/SFD and follow updates on social media. You've been listening to Full Circle Weekly News. For more details, see the next issue of the magazine at fullcirclemagazine.org or check the links in the show notes. You can contact me at bardmoss@pm.me. I'll see you next week.